Here's another pear tree. This guy's a little bit younger. He's approximately, let's see, he was put in the ground, where are we, the first row? This was put in the ground maybe a year or so ago. Bought as a 2-3-year-old plant tree as it was. Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is an apple tree. Yep. One thing I didn't do early on that I wish now I would have is actually sat down and kept a good diagram of what was planted where, because there's various different varieties, and also a lot of things were changed. One tree would die out, another one would be added, things like that. The bees just love these, and of course they have a really nice smell to them as well too, but there's an apple blossom blowing in the wind. Good thing about adding a colony or several colonies of bees in an area fairly near your orchard is, of course, they'll up your pollination considerably. And we've seen that in the couple of seasons we've had bees. There's a big increase in the amount of pollination. Here's what you can expect from, I'd say probably about a 4 or 5 year old pear tree. Purchased a couple years old, planted in the ground maybe 2 years ago, from the looks of the earth regrowing around there, weeds and such. It's important to understand that some varieties will require a pollinator. And again, check with your local nurserymen around about this. Don't buy your trees in multiples of just one. If possible, buy 4 of each variety. 4 of each type of tree. In other words, if you're getting apple trees, get 4, maybe 2 Granny Smiths and 2 McIntosh, or whatever's good for your area. Get a mix of them. Don't worry so much early on about, people say, oh, well, I like Red Delicious, I'm going to get Red Delicious. Well, that's great and all that. Find out, first off, what actually produces in your area. It's great to have a whole bunch of trees that with fruit that, that produce fruit you like when they do produce it. But if they don't produce it, well, that's the problem. And again, learn from my experience in this, y'all. I went that route, and I bought all the stuff that I, quote-unquote, liked, and some of it didn't grow in my area, or produce, rather, in my area. But they did suck up the nutrients and water and such from all the other plants. So again, this is where a good local nurseryman is going to be helpful. Kind of into the sun here, sorry about that. Trying to play cameraman and speaker at the same time. I'm not used to that sort of thing. Here's another apple tree just starting to flower out a little bit. This one is a few years old. This big tree in the background here is another pear, but it's actually a flowering pear. Sometimes, now I did not buy that on purpose, but sometimes what happens is they graft the regular pear trees into different stock, root stock. And so occasionally, for about every 2-3 dozen pears we have 1 or 2 that are flowering. Now they'll look really pretty in the springtime. They're white. They're absolutely gorgeous, and the bees love them. The bees get a lot of pollination and such from them, and they will pollinate your other pear trees, but they don't produce a darn thing. And they'll fool you because if you look here real close, almost looks like that's a little cherry or some type of fruit growing. These things never get any bigger than that. So you'll put a bunch of trees in, and you'll think, Jojo the nurseryman, he got me. I bought a pear tree, and this is a cherry. That's not a cherry. I don't even know if those things are edible, and they never get any bigger than that. So this is a flowering pear. What I've done here for the sake of simplicity is I've hacked off some of the limbs at the bottom. I didn't want to hack the tree completely down because it's very pretty, number one, and number two, it's a very good pollinator for some of the pears. But I did want to make it where I could actually move around the bottom here. And yes, my orchard does need mowing. I try to get in here once every month or so. So before anybody picks me apart on the fact that it needs mowing, grow up. Even though we're technically in the peach state, we've had a heck of a rough row to hoe with peaches. I would not suggest these as a starting plant. Let me show you why. See this gunk right here that looks a little bit like ice? Hopefully the sun isn't blocking that out too much. That stuff right there. That is evidently some type, I'm told by our nurserymen, some type of little bug actually produces that. And so we have yet to have a full peach crop. And we have roughly half a dozen peach trees and such like that. Now we are spraying more this year. We learned our lesson on that already. Last year we had quite a problem with a pest called plum cucurio, if I'm saying that correctly. And what it does is it just absolutely just decimates your fruit. What you'll have is and I'm not even sure if this is the same thing that's destroying the peaches, but there's a lesson here, and the lesson is you can't really always take care of stuff like this organically. It's great to go, oh, I'm just going to use dormant oil spray, and that's going to take care of everything. Folks, I've done dormant oil spray every year I've had fruit trees, and it did not correct this problem with the plum cucurio. I did sulfur sprays, I did everything I could before I finally realized, hey, I have to use some chemicals here. So, it's going to be tough to really grow these things long term, all right, and get them to produce well, doing it organically. This is something you're going to need to stock. You're going to need to stock some malathion. You're going to need to stock some other products as well. I'll show you here in just a few minutes. There's a Bear product that's on the market. That's a drench. It's a soil drench, and that seems to work really well for us as well too. But again, a local nurseryman, somebody who's actually been doing it, not JoJo the sales guy at Walmart who's going to tell you whatever he thinks you want to hear to get you out of the nursery and get your cart packed up. But a local guy who's been growing trees for a long time that knows what he's talking about.